Why does Cartier name all these different watches Santos? We'll get to the bottom of it and give you a way to make heads or tails of it coming up. So why is Cartier so obsessed with the word Santos that they want to name seemingly almost every watch they come out with Santos? Well, we'll get to the bottom of it. I'll tell you what happened. And fresh from the showcase here at SwissWatchExpo, we've got all these different Santos watches. I wanted to do even more, but Elena will only let me have so many watches out here at a time. So you'll have to look up on our site some of the others. There's some of the ones I'm going to mention we didn't have an example of. You'll just have to Google those yourselves. But here's what happened. In 1904, Louis Cartier had his friend Alberto Santos-Dumont, was a Brazilian aviator and really famous on a level that nobody is famous in the world today. He was known far and wide. He was sort of a folk hero. He was also like a fashion influencer of the day. He was what they called a dandy. He was out on the cafes in Paris and lived a very public and flamboyant lifestyle. And he asked his friend Louis Cartier if there was some way that he could tell the timing of his flights without taking his hands off the controls, to pull out his pocket watch. And so Cartier invented what became the first modern wristwatch, the first men's wristwatch, the first aviation wristwatch. All the other companies out there, they all wish that they could lay claim to this, but really only Cartier can. So in 1904, they came out with the watch that they designed for Alberto Santos-Dumont, and it kind of slept as a private prototype model for a few years until they came out with it as a serial production item in 1911. So fast forward, that great Art Deco design, the fact of a watch you could wear on the wrist that had a leather strap, that you could just look down and see the time quickly, became all the rage, of course, in World War I. And by the time Cartier updated the Santos, it was firmly part of the Cartier collection. They had done a lot of versions of the ultra-thin gold or platinum Santos wristwatch over the years. It was a little different from the tank because it was square, and the bezel had those 8 screws showing through. And the dial, very Art Deco looking, it had the elongated Roman numerals that sort of reflect the way the streets are arched in Paris. So it really had a lot of interesting design to it that really captivated the imaginations of people. So in the 1970s, of course, we all know that Gerald Genta came on the scene and sort of changed the watch world by making elegant, sporty watches that were made out of stainless steel but fine watches for companies like Audemars Piguet with the Royal Oak and Patek Philippe with the Nautilus. And so Cartier noticed the trend, and they decided to sort of jump on that same trend, and they came out with the Santos Sport Watch in 1978. So this was the first one. It had a steel bracelet. It was often made in steel and gold. It looked a lot like this watch. So if you can imagine the gold bezel and then the gold screw heads all the way around the bracelet, that watch was extremely popular. If you can imagine people like Gordon Gekko and wearing this watch in the 80s, really, really popular watch. That time, the case was flat and each link was flat. And so they updated the model in 1987 with this one. This was called the Santos Galbee. And so if you just type in on SwissWatchExpo at the top in the search bar, if you type in Santos Galbee, G-A-L-B-E-E, you'll see all of the ones that are made like this. It means curved. The case is curved and each link is curved. It really sits nicely on the wrist. It's not real thick. There's a ladies version and a men's version made. And a lot of them are quartz. The way you can tell the difference real easily is that the automatic ones have the guilloche dial that's all hand engraved. Really, really beautiful dial work. And the case backs on them are a little bit domed to make way for the rotor. But we keep these in stock. They were made from 87 to 2004, and they're still fantastic watches. We have a lot that don't show a lot of wear. You can see the bracelet's really tight. The watch doesn't really even look like it's been worn. So it's still a great option and a pretty cost-effective option as well. If you want a steel sport watch that can also be worn with a suit, really any kind of social situation, this watch would be right at home. In 2005, the next iteration came out of this watch, which was the Santos Galbee XL. And that watch is thicker. We also have that one in stock, and it's always automatic and also in a couple of different sizes. It's a chunkier watch. It's not such a slim profile as this one. And that one, it really sort of updated the line to have the more modern sizing. For 2004, they thought, let's celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Santos watch by coming out with a really big one that is called the Santos 100. So that's how you differentiate this one. It was the first one with crown guards, and it's a much thicker profile. It initially came out only on the strap. Later, bracelet models were added, lots of different materials. Santos 100 is available in carbon fiber and ADLC and steel and gold and all gold and rose gold and chronographs. And there's a lot of different Santos 100, but they all have this sort of profile of the chunkier watch. Cartier wanted to, I think, sort of cash in on some of the popularity of their stable mate at Richemont, Panerai. And so the Santos 100 is the sort of Panerai-esque version of a Santos. They did come out with a dressier watch that they also strangely called Santos Dumont at the time, because this one does not have the bezel with the screws. It's just a very thin mechanical watch, and this one was made in white gold and rose gold and yellow gold exclusively. It has a very different look from the rest of the collection, but the case shape is the same as the rest of the Santos. So there you have it. The current model of Santos Dumont came out in 2018, and it is a watch that's a lot more true to the original Santos Dumont design. It is curved like the Galbee, but the shape of it is very much like the Santos Dumont, and it does have that real thin Roman numerals, again, very Art Deco. This one is only available as a quartz watch, so it's a little bit more of an entry-level Santos. And then the latest release, they're calling Santos de Cartier. He's changed up the same name just a little bit, right? So this one is easily distinguishable because the bezel sort of drips off the top and the bottom a little bit. It's not perfectly square like on the Santos 100 and the Santos Galbee. And this one incorporates Cartier's quick switch program for the strap and the bracelet, where you can just take it off and you can click a strap right onto it. It also has a really innovative, interesting system where you can size the watch yourself with no tools. You can press a button on the back of the link. It'll cause the pin to pop out, and you can actually take links in and out without any tools on this watch. So that's a real handy feature. Cartier has kind of, I guess, finished the evolution of the Santos with this one, to me, because they've integrated everything that's great about a Santos into this one watch. And again, it's available with the ADLC bezel, with all sorts of different configurations. And for one of the recent versions that we have, we might still have it if you look on our website. It's the skeleton of the Santos 100. It has a clear, of course, crystal, clear dial, clear case back. Even the plates and the movement are clear, and so you can see the entire movement from the front of the watch. It's really a fascinating watch. We did a separate video just on that one, so you can look that up on our YouTube channel. But give us a call. We love the Santos here at SwissWatchExpo. It's one of our favorite watches, one of our top sellers perennially. And it's just because it is such a classic Art Deco style. It's 100 years old plus and has really stood the test of time. There's really no other watch out there like it that has the kind of history and pedigree that this watch has. So give us a call, click the like button, click the bell, like and subscribe, give us your comments, tell us which of these various Santos is your favorite, and tell us which ones we left out that we should have talked about.